On March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 disappeared into the night sky. It was a Boeing 777, one of the most reliable aircraft in commercial service, carrying 239 people on board. The scheduled flight was a routine journey from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, a route flown countless times before. But less than an hour after takeoff, it vanished. No distress call, no emergency signal, just silence. In our era of satellites, radar, and constant surveillance, the disappearance of a massive airliner should be impossible. Yet over a decade later, we are still searching for answers. The night began without issue. At 12:42 a.m. local time, MH370 departed Kuala Lumpur International Airport. The weather was calm. Air traffic controllers noted nothing unusual. At 1:19 a.m., the final words from the cockpit were transmitted. "Good night, Malaysian 370. Just minutes later, the plane disappeared from civilian radar. At first, investigators assumed something catastrophic had happened instantly. But the truth was stranger. Military radar later revealed that the plane made a sudden left turn, deviating from its flight path, and flew back across the Malay Peninsula before heading northwest over the Andaman Sea. Whoever was in control did not announce their intentions. Search teams scrambled. In the first few days, efforts were focused on the South China Sea, where the plane was last seen by civilian radar. But when Malaysia reluctantly released its military radar data, the search area shifted dramatically. Suddenly, the world's attention turned to an entirely different stretch of ocean. Investigators began analyzing automated satellite handshakes, tiny bursts of data sent from the plane to an Inmarsat satellite every hour. These pings suggested the plane flew on for more than 6 hours after contact was lost, traveling thousands of miles before finally plunging into the southern Indian Ocean. How does a plane fly for hours without a word from the cockpit? Theories multiplied. One theory is catastrophic mechanical failure, but experts point out that in such cases, pilots usually have time to send a distress signal. The lack of communication suggests something else. Deliberate action. Some believe Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah may have intentionally diverted the plane. Investigators combed through his home flight simulator, where he had plotted a route into the Indian Ocean similar to MH370's last known path. But no smoking gun was ever found. Others argue the co-pilot could have been responsible, though there is little evidence to support it. Then came the hijacking theory. Could terrorists have seized the plane? If so, why did no group ever claim responsibility? And why fly the aircraft to one of the most remote places on Earth? Some point to Diego Garcia, a U.S. military base in the Indian Ocean, claiming the plane was either headed there or shot down nearby. The United States strongly denies this, and no credible evidence has emerged. Another popular idea is that the plane was secretly landed in Central Asia, but skeptics argue it would be nearly impossible to fly across multiple national airspaces undetected. As the years went on, pieces of debris began to wash ashore. In July 2015, a flaperon, part of a wing, was discovered on Réunion Island, thousands of miles from the original search zone. Over time, more fragments appeared on beaches in Mozambique, Madagascar, and Tanzania. Each one confirmed the plane had ended in the Indian Ocean. Yet none of these pieces explained why it had gone there. No cockpit voice recorder, no flight data recorder, just fragments scattered by the ocean. In 2018, the Australian Transport Safety Bureau concluded the disappearance was almost certainly deliberate. The final moments, they suggested, showed signs of a controlled descent, but they stopped short of accusing anyone. The Malaysian government released its own report, which admitted mistakes were made in the investigation. Families of the victims accused authorities of covering up information and mishandling the early search efforts. China, which lost more than 150 citizens, publicly criticized Malaysia's response. For the families, the pain was unbearable. Loved ones were gone and answers were elusive. The disappearance exposed troubling gaps in aviation safety. Before MH370, few realized how easy it was for an aircraft to vanish once it left land-based radar coverage. Now, international regulations require more frequent position reporting. Some airlines have adopted real-time tracking systems. But despite these changes, the fundamental mystery remains. Even today, Flight MH370 fuels speculation. Some argue it was a suicide mission. Others are convinced it was hijacked. Conspiracies thrive. Claims of government involvement, secret cargo, or a cover-up of a military accident. None of these theories have been proven. What is undeniable is the human cost. 239 lives were lost, and countless families remain without closure. In their grief, they continue to demand answers. Vigils are held every year. Memorials stand in Kuala Lumpur and Beijing. For many, hope endures that one day the wreckage will be found and the truth revealed. The Indian Ocean remains the final resting place for this mystery. Several large-scale searches have scoured thousands of miles of seabed using sonar and submersibles. Each time, search teams have come up empty-handed. The ocean floor in that region is among the most hostile environments on Earth, riddled with trenches and mountains. It is possible that MH370 lies in a place so deep and inaccessible that it may never be recovered. The disappearance of MH370 is not just an aviation mystery, it is a human one. How could modern technology fail so completely? How could governments bungle the search so badly? And how can families move forward without answers? These questions linger like shadows over the tragedy. Until the black boxes are found, the truth will remain speculation. For now, MH370 stands as a haunting reminder of our limits. Despite all our satellites, radars, and tracking systems, the Earth is still vast, and the oceans still hold their secrets. Somewhere in the deep, silent waters of the Indian Ocean lies the wreckage of Flight 370. Until it is found, we are left with a story that is equal parts tragedy and mystery. A story that reminds us of the fragility of life and the unsettling truth that even in the 21st century, some events can vanish into the dark, leaving only questions behind. Comment, like, and subscribe for more mysteries.